Namaste and welcome all to yet another masterclass brought to you by Meru International School. In the masterclass, well qualified and experienced teachers working with Meru International School share their subject knowledge with you. I'm Rajni Sharma, social science educator working with Meru International School. Friends, year 2020 gave us all a very bizarre experience. It will be recorded as a global pandemic in the world history and will be taught to the generations to come. New keywords like quarantine and lockdown will be highlighted in the ebooks. Amidst all the stressful condition and confusion, mankind is showing great hopes. And you must agree with me that we all are hopeful and positive because we have high hopes and believe in the representatives chosen by us. You must also agree that it is only because of the work of the efficient government we have in the center that despite being the second largest population of the world, India's condition is far better than many of the developed European nations. Though lockdown was introduced, though life almost came to a halt, but it didn't stop. Slowly, slowly but steadily, life is coming back to the track. And one of the biggest example here is conducting the elections in the states of Bihar and Telangana peacefully. Talking of which, I must also tell you that this year is very special for me. It will always remain in my memories. Not only because of the COVID and the lockdown and quarantine and all those negative reasons, but because for the first time I casted my vote. Yes, this was the first vote in my life, and I'm very proud that I got this opportunity during the COVID, which tells us that if you have the right leaders in position, sitting in the centers, putting efforts for making your life better, definitely there's always hope. In today's masterclass, I'm going to discuss with you the process involved in conducting the elections. No, don't worry. I'm not going to give you lectures on how the government is formed, how you go and elect, how you go and cast your vote. Rather, I have something interesting for you. We are going to look at the bigger picture here. We are going to discuss about how the background is prepared. You must be surprised to know that in India we have currently 900 eligible voters. Yes, you heard me right. That is why we are the largest democracy in the world. And when we talk about the general election, we come up as the biggest population, the strength, the power to choose the government, the right government. That is why it is extremely important for us to understand that how this whole process is brought in, how whole arrangements are made. In this masterclass, I'm going to throw the light on the same with you. We are going to discuss about the background, how the preparations are made before the D-Day, before the election day. What are the steps taken in this masterclass? I'm going to throw some light on conducting elections in the world's largest democracy. As this was my first vote, I was very thrilled. And trust me, it was such an easy task. I just had to walk few meters from my house and there was a polling booth. I went, I stamped on this ballot paper, I folded and slipped it into the box and I was done. And I was so thrilled and happy at how easy, convenient, peaceful, secure was the whole process. That gave me an idea. Is it always like this? Is it everywhere like this? Is voting actually so easy? And have you ever thought, what about those remote places which are high up in the mountains, which are deep into the forest, where there are rivers around? How are these polling booths set up there? Friends, in this masterclass today, with few examples, I'm going to throw some light on it, how this humongous task is made look so easy. So please stay with me and let's the journey begin. You must be amazed to know that we have over 900 million eligible voters, and for them we needed over a million polling booths. And that's where the whole session is all about. How India mobilizes a million polling stations, such a huge number, world's largest democracy. To be able to conduct the elections properly, we require to set up these polling stations. It sounds very simple that all you have to do is choose a desired place, set up the polling booth there with few officials appointed on duty. But did you ever think of the remote, extreme areas where it is extremely difficult to communicate? So the big question is how India mobilized a million polling stations to ensure that every one of 900 million eligible votes in India's election is actually such a mammoth task. And Election Commission of India aims that not even a single vote should be left behind. That's not it. Each polling booth serves about 900 to 3,000 people on the day of election. And on top of that, the Election Commission of India gives us the guidelines that the polling station should be within the reach of the voters, not more than 2 kilometers away from the voter. With a huge population and large geographical stretch, the big question remains how do they do it? From remote corners of Himalayas to crocodile-infested mangrove swamps of Andaman Nicobar, how Election Commission of India sets up the polling stations, who are working day and night silently behind the Indian elections. Government teachers, engineers, clerks, accountants are among the country's army of polling staff. I must mention here this book, An Undocumented Wonder, by former Chief Election Commissioner S.Y. Qureshi, where he brings you the stories of men and women who make up this diverse, largely faceless army. The biggest challenge is that these EVMs reaches each of the polling booth safe and secured. So how do they do it? Tashing Gong in the Spitting Valley is world's highest voting station. Only 49 voters were registered to vote at the station, which was 15,256 feet above the sea level. But Election Commission of India motto is that not even one single vote should be left behind. EVMs were brought here, polling booths were set here, and very successfully elections were completed. Another polling station in the remote village of Ka, which is 9,700 feet above the sea level, was set up just for 16 voters. You heard me right, only for 16 voters, 12 female and 4 males. Already feeling very proud of our country? Yes, we are. But the big question remains how did they make sure? How did they mobilize these EVMs here? The answer to this is by helicopters. Yes, as you can see on your screen, officials appointed carried the EVMs with them in the helicopters to reach the high altitudes. The officials had to carry the EVMs through the snow capped valley in the extreme cold, just to make sure that not even a single of those 16 voters is missed. Yes, Tashigang, a small Himachal Pradesh village, is the highest polling station in the world. From snow-capped mountains to deep, dense forests, nobody should be left behind. The small eastern state of Mizoram has over 86% of its geographical area under the forest cover, second highest in India after far-flung Lakshadweep Islands. Not only does it has a very thick forest cover, it also has mountains which have very steep and rocky cliff and also deep valleys, making it very inaccessible for the polling stations. But it doesn't matter because Election Commission of India makes sure not only to set up polling stations for the local men, but it also sets up separate polling booths for about 15,000 voters who have been staying in the refugee camp in the neighboring states of Tirupura. Yes, you heard me right. Even those who have been staying in the refugee camp are also ensured that they enjoy their right to vote. Officials appointed travel through tractors, through the muddy roads, very difficult, right? And they even cross the rivers on boats, risking their lives. Another state from the east is Arunachal Pradesh, covered with thick forest. According to the latest India State of Forest report, it has the largest area of very dense forest in the country. This makes it very challenging to reach the remote areas and set up the polling booths. But as already mentioned, Election Commission of India is determined to make sure that every single vote matters. You'll be extremely surprised to know that a temporary booth was set up for a single female voter. Yes, you heard me right again. A single female voter was given the opportunity to enjoy her right of voting within her reach, and a temporary booth was set up to facilitate her. Malogam temporary structure was constructed by a team of 6 election workers who traveled 30 to 40 kilometers for 2 days to put up the booth. Amazing, right? Yes, as you can see in the picture, they've been traveling through the tough and thick forest and whatever means they can use. Let's talk about Assam. The state has 13 times more polling stations than Arunachal Pradesh. It does not have much forest cover. However, the state has its own challenges due to number of small islands and Sundarban scattered around the Brahmaputra river that runs through the state, which are home to many voters. Election officials traveling to the cut-off location needs to carry all the necessary equipments and paperwork with them. Through tough terrain and many obstacles, EVMs are packed in special containers to make sure that they are not damaged. And then the officials appointed carry these EVMs, securing them sometimes by foot, sometimes by river, and sometimes even on elephants. Sounds adventurous, right? What fun life! How the officials travel across the country to the most difficult terrains just to reach out to you so that you can enjoy your right to vote, just like I did. This is not it. It's not only just going through the difficult terrains of the country and setting up polling stations. We are surrounded by some anti-social elements who are against the democracy of the nation, who aims at stopping you from enjoying your right to vote. The states like Chhattisgarh and Jharkhand always are very challenging and they pose a great threat to the democracy of our country. These states are highly vulnerable and casualties during elections are very common. But just to make sure that the people of the states also enjoy their right to vote, the officials, along with the armed force, from avoiding moist attacks to hiding in jungles, the team is always trying to make sure that you are able to enjoy your right to vote. Geographical locations are not always the challenges, it's even bigger than that. Still, the government ensures that the people living in these vulnerable areas also get to enjoy their right to vote as the officials are all set up. They cross the deep dense forest, they risk their life just to make sure that not even single person is left behind. Election Commission of India takes all the measures to ensure the spirit of democracy is not shaken by these anti-social people. No matter how hard the terrains are, no matter how far the voting booth needs to be set up, the spirit of democracy must live on. And this is possible only if you choose to vote first. I vote before I do. Dear friends, as a social science educator, my job is not only to teach you about the kings and the queens who ruled over us for hundreds and thousands of years, and how they shaped our lives, how they changed our cultures, how they make us what we are, how they influence our life. But it is my responsibility as a teacher also to motivate you toward the right practices which help us shape our future and make our lives better. I hope you enjoyed learning as much as I did teaching you. I hope to see you next time. Please leave a comment. Also, if you have any suggestions or if you want me to cover any particular topic, please leave a comment. Once again, I would like to thank you all for joining in and being patient to hear from me. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.
Meru is the brainchild of the My Home Group, is a vast business house which has varied interests in real estate, cement, power and now education. So we here at Meru really want to make sure the children are very comfortable here at school with their teachers and with their students, that they build their own relationships, become as independent as possible and develop a very balanced EQ so that they can tackle tomorrow's issues a lot better. Academic rigor is non-negotiable for us here at the school. But the way we teach the academics, the way we teach each concept is done in such a manner that it excites the children. So whether it's digital content, whether we map an activity to a learning, whether we do a hands-on experience, or sometimes we pull out the children out of the class just so that we break the monotony of sitting in the class. With the vastness of the curriculum coming in, we'll have to make things more relevant for the child to remember, to understand and to produce it on their own, instead of the general mugging and the rote method. Art is actually very integrated with the curriculum. Whatever they learn as per certain subjects are mapped to the art curriculum as well. That just reinforces their thought process, reinforces their learning a lot more. Because what we crave for is safety and security, and that's what we are ensuring and reinforcing here at Meru. We have approximately 400 cameras looking all over in the school. There's a proper CCTV monitoring room. The buses are GPS oriented. These are important aspects in a school. Even though we're very centrally located in the heart of the city, I must say, the Meru school has been built in such a manner that it can accommodate 1800 kids. We have 3 basketball courts, 2 badminton courts, 1 mini football field, 1 cricket pitch, a huge indoor space. We promote sports quite a bit. Our 5th floor is mapped for sports as well, eventually when the higher grades come. It's a huge space and it's been very well planned. Our labs and the library and our every other facility is ready for the higher grades of 9th and 10th. And eventually we intend to launch the 11th and 12th grade in a year or 2. Currently, we have the 8th grade batch moving to the 9th, and we have approximately 1030 kids in the 2nd year itself. We're very humbled and extremely happy about the number. Even the 3rd year admissions are going very strong. Very thanks to the support and the word of mouth of our current parents. I'm glad that they like what we're doing at Meru, and I'm glad that the kids are happy and they are happy.